Hello, welcome to the Marketplace. My name is Daryl. Kwaw. Coming up this afternoon, minority in Parliament say their stance on the 2024 budget remains unchanged, vowing to scuttle its approval. We will be live in Parliament. Also coming up this afternoon, committee working on Ghana's external debt restructuring to hold crunch meeting with Europe this week following China's concerns about debt cut-off date. Also coming up, we hear from a finance professor, Joshua Abo, who is calling for a more robust national development bank to drive growth across all sectors of the economy.
Need to constantly raise the needed financing on very favorable terms so you can continue provided intervention.
My name is Daryl Kwaw. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. We want to begin from Parliament, where the minority say their stance on the 2024 budget has not changed. They are vowing to scuttle its approval this afternoon. Parliament will hold a head count to decide whether this statement should be approved or not. And joining me live from Parliament on phone is Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kwaw Sante. What's the latest where you are, Kwaw?
Sitting hasn't started yet, but this appears to be the main agenda for sitting today, their discussion on the 2024 budget and economic policy. Obviously, the Deputy Speaker walking into his lobby very shortly. We expect that session will start. This will become the main agenda. Ordinarily, the expectation was that the LI on the restriction of some collective goods would have come up on the floor, but today we know that government has pulled the brakes on that. They decided that they are going to not lay the LI until further consultation is made. So it means the biggest agenda on the order for today will be the 2024 budget approval process. The minority already signaling their interest and opposition to the budget and saying they are going to fight it every step of the way. And today what is going to happen is the head count. We are going to have the speaker call out the MPs to stand up in their chairs to count it, and each side will get the numbers in terms of the majority just to pass the bill. And that is what is going to happen. The numbers came ultimately. A number of MPs have traveled currently. And those who are able to bring in a number of their colleagues will be able to get this budget through. And the minority has heard them this morning say their stance is unchanged. They are going to oppose this budget. The majority says they have the numbers to be able to get it through. So in the next few minutes when session starts, the most important thing will be which side is able to bring their colleagues, their MPs on the floor for this crucial vote. And it's filling up already. You see the MPs car park. It's filled up. A lot of MPs are coming in. It appears both ways are doing their job to try and get the numbers on the floor.
Yeah, like you point out, it's going to all boil down to the numbers. So when the minority says it will scuttle the approval of the budget, what can it essentially do?
Daryl, can you come again?
No, I was just asking what the game plan of the minority is. If it's really about the numbers, what can they really do about it when they say they are going to scuttle the approval of the budget?
Well, the minority are hoping that ministers and other MPs who have traveled to COP28 will not arrive in time. But I've just seen the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. He was also in Dubai for the COP28, but it appears he has come down. That would mean that a lot of the MPs who traveled, including the Energy Minister, Martin Kofi, but have all arrived in the country for this crucial vote. It is so important that the budget statement just through before Parliament starts considering the various estimates of the MPs, and seeing that all of them have come through. That will mean that the minority at best will only be able to make their case, because if all 132 majority MPs are on the floor, this budget and economic policy statement goes through without any let or hindrance, and that will be so. But the majority are hoping that all these MPs and ministers who have traveled will have arrived in the country by now. Like I told you, I've seen a number of them around who are already here, signaling the government's intention to get this through as soon as practical.
And what happens if the minority is not able to secure approval? The budget is not approved today,
Well, if the budget is not approved, it means the finance minister would have to go and draw up another budget and present it in Parliament. It's unprecedented. It hasn't happened in the fourth Republican history. It happened in March, where the minister had to go and draw up a new budget and bring it. And so, uncharted territory, there are those who believe that even with the rejection of the budget dependent on economic policy, Parliament can go ahead and consider the estimates for the MDA to prevent a government shutdown in January. But there are those who believe that if Parliament is unable to pass this budget statement in economic policy, the minister would have to go back, draw up a new budget, and come and present it together with new estimates for consideration. Finance minister is out of time. We're already in December. The appropriation that was passed last year is going to run out in the next 3 weeks. And so the finance minister needs to get this new appropriation to be able to spend at the turn of the new year. And that is why this is so crucial for government. And they don't want to consider any possibility at all that this budget will not be approved. They are hoping that all MPs will turn up in the House today and do their responsibility and get this budget through.
Okay, one other thing we're expecting to happen today was the approval or the laying before Parliament, rather, of the legislative instrument on import restrictions. We're hearing that that plan may have changed.
Yes, the Information Minister for the has confirmed to join you that that is not going to happen. That airline, the BRICS have been put for further consultations to happen. We know that a number of bodies were completely opposed to the bill, the minority in particular, on 3 different occasions blocked the laying of this airline on the floor. It appears they finally got what they wanted, and this airline is not going to be delayed, at least not in this meeting. Probably when the consultations go on and be able to reach some consensus, they will come back next meeting, we will start early February or late January to lay that airline with the amendment. Minorities say they've been able to get what they want, and it's a testament to the fight they've been putting up against this airline.
All right, thank you so much, Kwaw Santilai, for us from Parliament. We'll come to you as and when there is a new development. Now, the committee put together by the International Monetary Fund to work on restructuring Ghana's external debt is expected to hold a crunch meeting this week. Here's George Jaffe with the latest.
Expected meeting to take place in Europe, we even see some senior IMF officials from Washington, D.C., USA participate in this gathering. Some of the key issues that will come up will be the fresh concern that China has raised about the cut-off date for restructuring Ghana's debts. China wants the IMF to move the date from December 2022 to March 2020 when it comes to restructuring Ghana's debts. However, the IMF initially raised concerns about this because of the impact on the expected timelines to bring Ghana's debts to sustainable levels. It is not clear for now whether the meeting will end with the much-needed letter of comfort being issued by the committee that they have agreed to open discussions on restructuring of Ghana's debts. However, sources say it is likely that the IMF will again review the board meeting date on Ghana's program review and the possible disbursement of some $600 million. This is more of a precautionary measure so that by the time that everything is done between the committee and Ghana, the board can meet on the country. The official credit committee is a grouping that was put together by the IMF and the World Bank under the G20 Common Framework. The committee is co-chaired by France and China, and they are working to review the request of Ghana and other countries that are looking at restructuring their debts.
Now, Professor of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Joshua Boy, is calling for a more robust National Development Bank to drive growth across all sectors of the economy. He says that there should be an increase in financing for the Development Bank and other agencies. Speaking to Joy Business, he urged banks to strengthen their regulations and tighten their risk assessment regimes to be able to withstand pressures from the market. He was interacting with James Ishan on the sidelines of a dialogue series by DBG and the University of Ghana Business School on the changing role of national development banks in Africa.
Development banks are supposed to provide interventions, that impact on growth and development, especially development. So when you provide the intervention, how has the intervention impacted on growth indicators or in development indicators? So you need to have your development measure, your impact evaluation measures, so that after the intervention, after a while, you find out whether the intervention really has impacted those indicators. And many of the banks didn't really have that. And I think that's something that we need to. Otherwise, we'll be providing the intervention and not ascertaining or finding out whether indeed the interventions are impacting on development.
I was just looking at specific areas where we can have the impact of these development banks. We know ours have been in existence for some time now, but when you speak to financial experts, they tell you we are not really feeling that impact. What are some of the key areas you feel should be tackled to, sort of ensure economic growth?
Well, I mean, the SME sector is a very important area, and in many African economies, SMEs constitute between 70 and 90% of businesses. So essentially, if you are financing the private sector, you're talking about SME. The SME sector is extremely important. Agriculture, manufacturing, we talked about climate action, and then infrastructure development. And when we talk about infrastructure, we should think of both hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure. These are important areas that we need to provide intervention. Of course, in some countries, Zimbabwe, for instance, has a whole bank focusing on infrastructure development. They have the infrastructure development of Zimbabwe. Some development banks also focus on agri. So it depends on the mandates they have, whether it's a narrow mandate or it's a broad mandate. If it's a broad mandate, then you can have them intervening in various sectors. For instance, the Ghana Exim Bank is a development bank with a narrow mandate, and their focus is to provide trade financing, and that's a very important area. If we have to address a currency crisis we constantly have, then trade financing is extremely important. We need to drive trade so that there's constant inflow of foreign currency. We are not doing well when it comes to intra-African trade, and I think that currently we're talking about 16% trading amongst Africans, 16%. In other jurisdictions, we're talking about over 70%. So I think that development banks can help in trade facilitation and help drive trade development on the continent.
A quick one, trade facilitation, we've spoken of SMEs. Do you think our development bank is being financed enough by the government?
Well, I think that the initial financing was adequate to start with, but financing is not static. You have to constantly be raising financing. So the initial intervention, yes, I think it's good, but going forward, you need to constantly raise the needed financing on very favorable terms so you can continue providing the intervention, because it's a going concern, and you must constantly raise long-term financing on favorable terms so that you can provide the needed intervention.
Now, as the financial landscape keeps transforming, financial institutions are being entreated to sign up onto the ISO 20022 by 2025 in order not to miss out on having seamless electronic exchanges of information. Now, to this end, the Facile technology is rolling out a sensitization program for financial sector players on how to leverage the platform in their day-to-day operations. Here's more.
Despite the growing trends within the financial services industry, ISO 20022 remains a hidden treasure awaiting to be discovered by the financial world. Facile technology firmly believes that this transformative standard holds immense potential to transform the industry by streamlining end-to-end processing across domains and geographics. ISO 20022 is an open global standard for standard information exchange. It provides a common language and structure for financial messages, making it easier for banks to communicate and automate their financial processes. Emeka Chibozo is a consultant at Facile Technology Ghana.
Facile as a technology company is not just pushing out systems. What we are doing is that we're trying to solve a problem. So we've seen that the ISO, it's new and it's coming on the Ghana region, and then everybody has to comply. And that's why we have gone back and we've brought this forward so that Ghanaians will not be behind. They will also be a player in the system. You must be a player. And for the economy to grow, you must be connected to the globe.
He explains to Joy Business why financial institutions will have to sign up onto the ISO 20022 platform by 2025.
It's now becoming a global adoption. Everybody is adopting it. It has been put as a standard out there. So if a financial institution don't adopt, you will be fine. You'll be behind. By 2025, I think everybody is supposed to be compliant. You must be ISO 222 player. You must be ISO 222 player by 2025. You will not be able to communicate, send any financial transaction to any institution. So every financial institution must comply by 2025.
The ISO 222 is an open global standard specifically designed for the electronic exchange of financial information between financial institutions.
You're watching The Marketplace. We are taking a short break. More stories after that. And thanks for staying with us. Now, as part of activities to mark this year's World Disability Day, GIZ has held a support to private and financial sector program to empower persons with disability and aid them in making good career choices. According to component manager GIZ, Joshua Hiaba, employers must embrace inclusivity and give persons with disability equal opportunities to contribute to the development of the economy.
A guidance session under GIZ's support to private and financial sector program focused on bringing to bear the challenges faced by persons with disability in their attempt to access employment. Participants were also equipped with knowledge on how to improve their CVs and cover letters. In an interview, component manager at GIZ, Joshua Hiaba, urged employers to readily give persons with disability equal opportunity to improve their living conditions.
There are people with vulnerabilities that we all need to come together to support and give them equal opportunities. And it's also an opportunity to also encourage employers to also embrace inclusion and employ people with disabilities. What we all have to understand is that people living with disabilities are not unable. I mean, they also have abilities as well.
Project manager at GIZ, Alex Claridge, said more awareness needs to be created to highlight the challenges faced by persons with disability in order to improve their conditions.
So I think awareness creation is a big point. I must say, from my personal experience on an everyday basis, not only here in Ghana but also in Germany, people with disabilities and the obstacles they face on an everyday basis is really limited. People are not really aware because it's not discussed too much in the general public and in the open discourse. So the open discourse is really important. It's important that we have a day like this with media appearances so that also government institutions get reminded of laws, get reminded of the duties they have to deliver to the general public.
The World Disability Day is celebrated to promote the rights and well-being of persons with disability in the society.
Now, a research assistant at the Human Resources Department of the University of Ghana, Moro Al-Hassan, says the country's inability to implement policies on occupational health and safety to the latter is one of the reasons accidents keep recurring at workplaces. He says implementing these policies will help avert situations which lead to loss of lives and properties. Moro Al-Hassan disclosed this to Joy Business at the Safety Week celebration of Volta Lake Transport Company at Akosombo Port in the Eastern Region. Here's Kwame Anka with more.
Safety Week celebration of Volta Lake Transport Company, which was on a theme, Our Health, Our Safety, created awareness, touched on cost implication of neglecting safety, its impact on organizational growth and sustainability, among other issues. Speaking at the event, research assistant at the Human Resources Department, University of Ghana, Moro Al-Hassan, reminded participants of the heavy price some mining and quarry companies have paid for avoidable accidents. He admitted that there is a challenge implementing Factories, Offices and Shops Act 1970, Act 328, Workmen Compensation Act 1987, Act 187, among other existing laws.
The policies are there. For instance, we have Factories, Offices and Shops Acts. We have Workmen Compensation Act and all that. But the issue is the implementation. At that level, we are not achieving a lot when it comes to implementation, because some of these accidents that are occurring, if the policymakers and those in charge are to make sure that they follow the rules and regulations to the latter, they follow the organization to ensure they are doing the right thing, we wouldn't be talking about accidents. But sometimes those in charge, they'll be sitting in their offices, and unfortunately the accident will happen. That's the time you see them coming on board.
Managing Director of Volta Lake Transport Company, Rose Apia Oche, says safety remains paramount, considering the natural dangers working on the lake comes with, as the company runs the Akosombo port.
It is a one-day celebration, but within the year, every month, we have safety meetings. We educate our staff for them to know the importance of safety. And so Volta Lake, when you even go back about 5 or even since our existence, there has not been any major accident on the lake because our staff adhere to safety practices. And even when you come to shore, the staff in the offices, our engineers and all that, they are also doing their bit because we have safety coordinators. We have stations, 5 stations, and even Bupe plus Bupe. It means we have 6 locations outside Akosombo. And so all the stations, the station officers there are part of our safety coordinators. We have safety coordinators that we give them training, education. So when they come to Akosombo for training, when they go back to their station, they also go and train or educate their staff.
Meanwhile, Technical Manager of Volta Lake Transport Company, Captain Wilson Tay, says safety being a shared responsibility, management will continue to do its part in creating a safe environment for all.
Purchase to procure the safety equipment that will enable them, feel safe in working, especially the personal protective equipment, and then collective protective facilities such as fire extinguishers, etc., etc. And then working on the lake also, we're looking at things on the vessels that will mitigate, the dangers in case somebody falls overboard, things that can be used in saving the person. And then a general knowledge for personnel to know that, yes, obeying of safety rules is very important for the organization.
Management of Volta Lake Transport Company is of firm belief that workers, their clients, and other stakeholders will continue to adhere to safety rules and regulations.
Now, as part of measures to increase the knowledge of students in the capital markets, financial planning, and investments, the Ghana Stock Exchange says it will continue to use its capital market quiz competition to increase awareness and deepen financial literacy. Head of Ghana Fixed Income Market, Augustine Simon, said the stock exchange will continue to engage financial institutions for a conducive environment for investments. He spoke to Joy Business at the semi-final stage of the capital market quiz competition.
It is to challenge the student to market, entrepreneurship, and corporate finance. Head of Ghana Fixed Income Market at the Ghana Stock Exchange, Augustine Simons, said the objective is to create awareness among students on various capital market related issues and encourage their interest in investment and entrepreneurship.
In the first place, it's building in them they have to learn how to save, and then savings, once they're able to save, they have funds that are resting, not being consumed, and that could be channeled into investment. As they grow, even as they learn to invest now, it becomes part of them, and know that whatever they are making out of their work period, they have to save, and this can be channeled into investment. As a country, it's only when we grow our savings that our savings can be channeled into investment.
Head of marketing at the Ghana Stock Exchange, Jerry Boachidankwa, entreated the student to save.
We introduce them to the capital market. We take them through a series of operations, and then we get them ready for the capital markets quiz. And so today, the contestants who have gotten to the semi-final stage we organize this fair so that they can have a first-hand experience of what happens in the capital market. So today, all of them came here, and then we've taken them through series of presentations, Ghana Stock Exchange, what we do, Central Securities Depository, what we do, and then we also invited some of our partners to talk to them about some of the digital tools that can be used for buying and selling of securities. So FinCap came here to introduce CD Manager to them.
Some students also share their experiences.
This program has actually taught me about saving, and then it has taught me that when I save money, instead of me to put it down, and then I should invest it so that as I'm in school learning, then interest is being added to it, and then I can accumulate well, so that maybe after school I can use it for something.
To earn more interest in the near future, and if you keep our money aside, there may be a fire outbreak that can burn our money. So we investing it in securities will help us to gain more income in the near future.
It will help me get money easily, like to become very rich. It's like investment is actually an easy way for wealth creation. And everybody think now like buying and selling is the only way you can make money. But the investment, the program has exposed us to investing and making money very early, and like you can sit at the comfort of home and you still make money rather than going to the market or anywhere to buy goods and sell to people.
The Capital Market Quiz Competition is an annual quiz competition that brings together high school students in Ghana.
And that's our program. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Banks capital quality boosted due to implementation of Basel capital standards as according to the governor. And Ghana Stock Exchange records 5 gainers in November 2023. myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will be back same time tomorrow.